Hi, and welcome to section 3.4, how to solve equations using multiplication or division. So this is when you have something that is in the form of, I have to move my little tablet thing, sorry guys, is in the form of like 4x is equal to 12. How do we solve for x? And this relies on a couple of properties. One of them is the multiplication property of equality. In other words, if you multiply something, see where it says if A is equal to B, in other words, those are equalities, and then you multiply both sides by the same thing, they're still equal. And that makes sense, because if you have two things that are equal and you multiply both sides by the same thing, then they're still equal. Same is true of division, division property of equality. If A is equal to B, in other words, those two sides of that equation are equivalent, then A divided by C is equal to B divided by C. Of course, this is all providing that C is not equal to 0, because remember, anything divided by 0 is undefined. So in this case, where we're trying to solve 4x is equal to 12, we would use the division property of equality. But we'll talk about that a little bit in here. So in this case, we're trying to solve, so as examples, we want to solve x divided by 3 is equal to negative 6. So let's rewrite the problem. If we have x divided by 3 is equal to negative 6, we need to isolate x, so x is equal to something. Well, x is divided by 3, so we're going to choose the opposite operation. We're going to say we're going to multiply both sides by 3. So if I multiply 3 times x divided by 3, these 3's will cancel out, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So those go away. So I'm left with x is equal to negative 18. And that's how you would solve that. Now, if I plugged negative 18 back into this equation, and I said negative 18 divided by 3 is indeed equal to negative 6. So that works out. Let's scroll down a little bit, and we'll solve an equation that has multiplication in it. So 18 is equal to negative 4y. Well, we want to isolate this y. Remember, 4y, we don't say it, but the operation that's between the negative 4 and the y is multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. These cancel out. We're left with a positive y. And 18 divided by negative 4 is negative 4.5 when you do the math out. And if we substitute this back in again, 4 times negative 4.5 would be 18. Okay, I want you to go and try these three on your own and see what you get. Oh, pause me. Welcome back. So let's see if you got these three right. So x divided by 5 is equal to negative 2. So let's rewrite the problem. X divided by 5 is equal to negative 2. When you're solving these, you kind of want to have some extra room over here. So x divided by 5, the opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. And I end up with, these cancel out, x is equal to negative 10. And I can check this. Negative 10 divided by 5 is equal to negative 2. That checks out. In this case, negative a is equal to negative 24. This was kind of a trick question. There's actually two ways that you can solve this. Negative a is equal to negative 24. If I multiplied both sides by a negative 1, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 1 times a is a. So that would be a is equal to, 24, for the same reasons. A negative 1 times a negative 24 is a positive 24. You could have also actually divided both sides by, I don't know, I put the parentheses there, but they're there. Divided both sides by a negative, because a negative divided by a negative is positive, and number divided by 1 is that number itself. And this would also be 24. So those work. And if we put a 24 in, substitute in here, negative 24 is actually equal to negative 24. It works out okay. All right, in this case, 3.3 is equal to negative 1.5n. We're going to divide both sides by negative 1.5, because remember the inverse operation here would be division, because negative 1.5 multiplied by n. So we do the opposite. And the answer to that one is actually 2. So 2 is equal to n. And you can write it either way. We math people kind of like it when you write it n is equal to 2. All right. So now we're going to talk about solving equations using the reciprocal. In this case, we have solve negative 4/5 times x is equal to negative 8. You could actually do the slow way, multiply both sides by 5, which would cancel, out this 5, and then divide by 4. Well, if we multiply by 5 and then divide by 4, it's actually a reciprocal. So if I take negative 4/5 x is equal to negative 8, and I multiply it by a negative 5/4, and if I do it to one side, then I have to do it to the other side. Oops, that negative doesn't belong there. Yikes. It's not doubly negative. So if I multiply negative 5 times negative 4, I get negative 20, and 4 times 5 is also, negative 5 times negative 4 is 20. 4 times 5 is also 20, so 20 over 20 is 1. Or you can cross simplify, negative 5 and 5 is 1, and 4 is 1, and negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. So those two cross each other, or cancel each other out. We're left with x is equal to. In this case, I'm going to do some cross simplification too. I'm going to say 4 goes into 8 twice, so I'm left with x is equal to 10. Let's see if that works. Negative 4/5 times 10 is equal to negative 8. Well, again, cross simplifying. 5 goes into 10 twice. Negative 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, so that works. All right, I want you to try these on your own and see where you get. Pause me, and then start me back up again. Okay, welcome back. So negative 14 is equal to 2/3 x. Well, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. I didn't really leave myself enough room. But these guys cancel out, and I'm left with x is equal to, cross simplify again, 2 into 14 is 7, so x is equal to negative 21. And in this case, we're going to, let's see here, negative 8/5 b is equal to 5. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 5/8. Multiply both sides by negative 5/8. This all cross simplifies and cancels each other out, so we're left with b is equal to negative 25/8. Okay, let's try this one. 3/8 h is equal to negative 9. I'm going to multiply it by 8. It's reciprocal, which is 8 divided by 3 times 8 divided by 3. We're going to cross simplify. Well, this cross simplifies and cancels itself out, so h is equal to, we're going to cross simplify here. 3 goes into 9 3 times, so 3 times 8 is 24, and it's negative. So how'd you do? Okay, so here's a word problem. The record low temperature in Arizona is 1.6 times the record low temperature in Rhode Island. What is the record low temperature in Rhode Island? Well, we know that it is, record low temperature is 1.6 times the low temperature in Rhode Island, and that's what we don't know. So we have 1.6 T is equal to, and we're going to look at the temperature gauge here, and it says the record low temperature in Arizona is -40. So that's how we would write our equation. We divide both sides by 1.6. -40 divided by 1.6. I'm going to grab my calculator really quickly. And 40 divided by 1.6 is 25. So temperature is equal to -25. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the classroom.